Hello and welcome to the Let's Talk Sports Show. We've got the old theme back. Well, I mean, okay, it's Grandstand, but hey, we like to use on Calon FM. We're allowed to, and we're going to go with it. For the next hour, you're going to be with Jamie Davies, Jack Price, Conor Porter, and Joe Stanley. And for the next hour, we're going to talk about sport. It involves mainly the international friendlies. The F1 has returned in Australia. And of course, I've got a bit of a rant towards Steve Smith and the Australia cricket team. This could be an interesting hour. This is what is coming up on the Let's Talk Sports Show on Calon 105 FM and YouTube. What a classic that is. The Chain from Fleetwood Mac. And of course, there's a reasoning to why we're playing that song today. Because F1 has returned. I mean, I don't know if that excites everyone because, let's be honest, there we go. Jack's off. He's even left the room in excitement. Come back, Jack.
Stop lying. We've got cameras here. Stop lying about this.
Well, I mean, on the radio, I've lied. Actually, no, technically on the radio, I've not lied. It's the video format. I'm not used to video yet. I'm just not used to it. Remember, you can watch the Let's Talk Sports Show on our YouTube channel. Just simply subscribe to us on YouTube and you can catch every video going there. And you lot are lucky, aren't you? Anyway, let's talk about the F1. The first race was won by Sebastian Vettel. The second year on the trot, he has won the Australian Grand Prix in a Ferrari as well. The only difference was that there was a halo on his car. Jack, a great win, but we all know it was a bit lucky at the end with what happened with Hamilton in the pits.
Yeah, it was a bit of a, I don't want to say a hollow victory because Ferrari and Vettel will take it, but I think Lewis will be quite disappointed with how it ended. And I think more importantly, I think we've got to talk about Haas as well because what a day they had. I mean, they did so well at the start. Magnussen overtaking Verstappen on the first corner to get up to fourth place. And Verstappen couldn't get past him because Albert Park in Melbourne isn't exactly the best for overtaking. I think there was 2 overtakes in 2017. So we had more in this race this year. But the drivers were still finding it difficult, and so Kevin Magnussen was doing really well in fourth, and Grosjean was Grosjean 7th or 8th?
So he was fifth. He was fifth, fifth and fourth when they were both before they retired.
Because Verstappen spun as well, didn't he?
Yeah.
So yeah, they were doing really well, and then for everything to be going well, apart from the wheel gun when you come in for a pit stop. And for both drivers to have the same problem to stop on the track.
Within 2 laps.
Yeah, it was crazy. It was like, what is going on? People were going, oh, it's because Haas a Ferrari B. It's like, no, you can't say that. But yeah, Vettel obviously got lucky. Kimi Raikkonen got the first pit stop because he was in the lead. He was the lead Ferrari driver. So I think it just fell for Vettel. Both drivers in Raikkonen and Hamilton had already pitted. And, Vettel just got lucky. And I think it was also to do with the fact that with the virtual safety car going around, thanks to Grosjean pulling off to the side, you go slower going around the track than you actually do going in for a pit stop. So that worked for Vettel as well because he was actually going faster than Hamilton, who was going around on an actual lap. So, it all just worked for Vettel. And I think, obviously he'll take it, but he'll know that he won last year, but didn't end up winning the championship in Abu Dhabi. So, anything can happen. People are saying, Ferrari are back, but if you look at what last year, you can't really say that this early on.
20 races to go.
Yeah,
that's
it's a long way to go.
21 races all season. It's a long one. But I think as well, what was funny about Mercedes with Lewis Hamilton, the moment he parked the car, I mean, obviously it takes forever now to get out of a car of a halo, but he just sat there for like 5 minutes, and the communications guy from FAA is like, I've got a job to do. You got to go up on the
he's
podium.
He's just twiddling his thumbs in the car, and he's like...
The press have got deadlines. And he literally... it was like he lost the world championship in that moment because that's Hamilton, isn't it? He's so competitive, a lot more than he was a few years ago in my eyes. But at the same time, I have a bit of respect for him that he is acting like an F1 fan where he wants it to be challenging. He wants there to actually be more than one car winning one race at a time. But surely, Hamilton's looking at that thinking that was a race Mercedes could look back at and think we should have won it.
Well, he wears his heart on his sleeve when he does it. He does it every race. And I think what I saw yesterday from Lewis Hamilton is something that I haven't really seen in the 3 or 4 years he's been at Mercedes, because it's been quite comfortable with him at Mercedes. You know, if he's in the front, he hardly gets overtaken, and you know he's there for 60 laps and he wins the race. But what I saw yesterday was when he was behind Vettel, he was sort of talking to the team, saying, you know, how did this happen and all that. And then he's like, shall I push? Shall I not push? And then he just suddenly went, oh yeah, I'm just gonna push. Yeah. You know, and he just, you know, forget team orders. I'm just gonna do it. And that's what you want as a fan. You know, you want the inner driver with them feeling the same as you do. It's like, right, let's just go and, you know, fight and get up to this. And that's what I want from Lewis Hamilton. I don't want it to be easy and him win comfortably. I want them to all be fighting amongst each other. And I think Grosjean really helped the race, because for the first 30 laps, you know, it looked pretty boring.
I mean, I'm gutted, Connor, that I do not have the sad trombone sound effect with me right now to represent Haas after the weekend. I mean, F1 is one of those, isn't it? There's so much money in it. No matter what, every race counts in terms of the Constructors' Championship and the World Championship. And obviously, there's so many millions in between 6th, 5th in the Constructors' Championship. And that mechanic who ran out, literally closed the back door.
Slammed it, didn't he?
Slammed it. Yeah. Proper American fashion as well. And that could have been their best race ever since they came to F1 in 2016.
Yeah, it's been a troubling time for Haas, especially on this weekend. You know, like you always want to do well, but if that kind of situation unfolds for you, where both of your drivers come in a situation where the wheel's not right for them whatsoever. You have to stop and think, well, what's happened in this kind of situation and whose fault it is. And we were discussing this on the way here. You know, jobs are on the line in this situation. So, you know, there's a lot of passion that goes into like any kind of sport. And Formula One, with the money involved, the investment from sponsors and things like that, you know, there's a lot of money on the line. And in this kind of situation where you get both of your drivers going out in the start of the season, it really can set you back, especially with how long the season is, because, you know, although the championship's not won until later on in the season, it certainly can be lost in this kind of stage. And, you know, a promising team like Haas could have, you know, caused a little bit of an upstir in that kind of situation. But unfortunately for them, they haven't got any points on the board this weekend. So starting from the bottom and still working up for them.
I mean, it was quite a nice touching moment when we saw Grosjean with one of the mechanics, because I don't know if the mechanic was crying because the helmet was on, but it looked like he was so down, like it was the worst day of his life.
Well, all of them looked disappointed, and that was after Magnussen's one. And then as soon as Grosjean came in 2 laps later,
just made it worse.
It was just full on despair, and it was like, how is this going on? I think it was a different wheel, wasn't it?
It was the Grosjean one was the front wheel on the right. I can't remember Magnussen's.
I don't know if Magnussen's was different, so I don't know whether it was a different gun or whether it was the same one that was used for the wheels, but it was just terrible, because they knew in 2 laps that their double point scoring was gone. And you know, they're a promising team. A lot of people are saying that they're going to do well this year and maybe try and get that 4th place, but you know, when you lose, you know, 2 drivers who are going to score decent points in the first race, it's very difficult.
But that's the thing, you can say they could finish 4th this season, but we've had it before with Honda back in 2006, where Jenson Button had a very good car, but it just kept blowing up on the last few laps. And let's be honest, that season would have been different for Button. He might have been higher up in the standings and the Constructors' Championship as well. But you look at that race and think, if they don't get another better opportunity, they've wasted it because of a simple error.
Yeah, I don't think they've got a terrible car this year.
No, of course
I think that they've done well over the winter. I think Gunther Steiner, the team boss, blamed that they hadn't practiced enough with pit stops.
I don't feel like that's a good excuse.
Over winter. He's probably, you know, brushing aside the error that's been made, but
yeah,
that's what I was saying to you. You know, if you come into a season unprepared, then it's going to really cost you.
Oh, they would have done
moving
it
on in any kind of sport. And I was saying to you, it's like turning up to a Sunday League game still hungover from the night before,
without shin pads and boots.
Yeah, so it's that kind of situation where, you know, it feels like Haas was unprepared. Maybe it was just like a little bit unlucky on the occasion. We'll see how they do in Bahrain really in a couple of weeks' time.
They've got a lot to learn in the next 2 weeks, because the next one is Bahrain. Ferrari are favourites according to Hamilton. What do you think of that?
Well, he would say that, wouldn't he?
Well, yeah. Vettel won there last year, didn't he?
Yeah, he did, but it's, you know, again, I think that's another good Mercedes track. It's, you know, it's power. It's on the straights. This is where Red Bull are probably not going to do as much in this race because there's a lot more straights. And DRS will be used more effectively. They put an extra DRS zone in Australia, didn't they?
Yeah, I didn't really understand.
It was pointless because it was literally not even half a mile. You know, it was about this. It was about that long. It was terrible. So there's a lot more in Bahrain, and we've seen battles. We've seen battles there. I still remember Nico Rosberg and Lewis Hamilton's battle there.
2014, yeah,
Probably the best battle we've seen.
Yeah, but the best thing was Sergio Perez finishing third in that.
Oh,
race.
of course, of course.
Mexican, don't you? Can I just say it also about the Australian Grand Prix that the Mercedes garage was more prepared for Kimi Raikkonen's pit stop, and they were like working around that kind of situation. So when Vettel's pit stop came in during the virtual safety car, it really caught them off guard, and then they just didn't know how to react after that situation. So I think if that virtual car didn't happen, I think Hamilton probably could have pushed on and won the race.
I think Vettel wouldn't have been anywhere near if it hadn't been for that, because he was 8 seconds behind.
That's a problem for the rest of the season.
Literally, that virtual safety car messed up a lot of people's race on that opening.
But it also helped McLaren and Alonso, so that's all that matters.
We will talk more about these other teams of how they finished on the Pole Position podcast, which you can find on our YouTube channel. Just make sure you search for us on YouTube, subscribe, and all our Pole Position podcasts will be out there, and we'll be reviewing the rest of the race later this week, so do check that out. Anyway, we're going to have our first music break, and Joe Stanley has got his song request. Don't worry, we'll get to hear from him after this music break.
I forgot he was here, actually.
Good sport, Joe. He's. I mean, are you an F1 fan?
Not really.
Not really.
There
There you go.
I'm more of a WRC kind of guy.
There we go. Which, just to clarify to the listeners, Ben, anyway, here is your request. It's She's the One from Robbie Williams. Enjoy. Robbie Williams there with She's the One. And obviously, I mean, Joe, you picked it, but may I ask why? Just one of those?
Good song.
Just it's a good one, isn't it?
I mean, song, and it's got the sports connotation, hasn't it? Technically, because he's ice skating in the video.
Yes, very good. Yeah. The Winter Olympics are over, Joe. I'm sorry.
Yeah, well, we weren't on the air, were we, when the Winter Olympics was on? So yeah, let's be honest.
Yeah.
It's just a bit of a delayed song.
Just a bit of a delayed song. I mean, we get a lot of demand of song requests here on Let's Talk Sports, so it had to be in the queue. So we do apologise, but it was played. Are you happy now, Joe?
Yeah, I haven't heard it for a while. So.
Very happy.
Anyway,
I'm not a big music person, so let's just go with it.
It's not a music show, so
I know you're a big football fan because that's what we're going to talk about now. It's time for some football. Oh yeah, I know, international football. It's just one of those, isn't it? Really. But let's be honest, we moan about it now, but come the summer, we'll be celebrating a month of international football in Russia. Anyway, but we've got to stick with it. That's politics. I won't talk about it because we're live on air. But Conor, it was a good win for England on Friday night. They beat the Netherlands. It's quite ironic, isn't it? We get these gigs against Netherlands and Italy, home and away. Well, away and home. And we literally get these big teams when they're not in the World Cup. Yeah. But we are. You think it'd be the opposite way around.
I mean, Netherlands in a bit of a rebuilding stage at the moment after a terrible qualifying campaign where they failed, of course, to get to the World Cup in Russia. Good England performance on the night. A lot of attacking movement flair, which we like to see, a lot of us. And it's interesting to see, there's a couple of players now that are pushing themselves forward to even secure their spot on the plane towards Russia at this early stage. Pickford, for me, certainly has shown that he could be England's number one, pushing forward from that position.
Very confident as well.
Very confident, yeah. So it'll be interesting to see how Jack Butland does tomorrow against Italy in that kind of situation there. So other players as well. John Stones, really good in the back, solid passer of the ball, instigated a lot of the movement, which is what England want to do. That's why they got that free back set up. They want to start the attack from the back and push forward from there. So good performance by him as well. Kieran Trippier, for me, did well in the right wing-back position too. And Lingard as well, for me. I thoroughly believe that he should be starting up front of Dele Alli in the England squad moving forward.
I was just going to say, because you said that on our way here, and obviously Dele Alli had to... Did he replace Lingard in the second half? He did come on, but I can't remember.
He came on. I'm not sure who he replaced, but yeah, he only turned up on the pitch really late, so not enough to make an impact. He'll probably start against Italy tomorrow, I imagine. But yeah, for me, Lingard has to start in front of Dele Alli. He's just more of a complete kind of attacking midfield kind of player. He likes to take on the opportunities, strike against the opponent's defense. And I think Mourinho is really missing a trick, not starting more in United. So I like to see him start more for United.
I think he's done all right at United this season. But anyway,
the question was though, Lingard had that contract quite a while ago where he got 100 grand a week contract. A lot of people were criticising him for getting that kind of contract because he wasn't getting the game time at United. I feel as if now he's earned that kind of respect to earn that kind of contract moving forward. So for me, I think he should start more in United because he's probably one of the most promising youngsters, barring Rashford, in the squad. So I think he should get more opportunities at United, especially after this England performance. He's done really well.
And all he has to do is kick a football on the pitch twice a week and then gets paid 100 grand a week. Yeah, that's right. Anyway, Joe, your thoughts on the England game?
Wasn't too bad of a game. Let's be honest. Friendlies, they're not played at the same pace, are they? It wasn't played at bad pace, as Conor said, but they're not played at the fast pace of competitive matches, the qualifiers of the World Cup. It wasn't, how to put it, I find them a lot boring, if that makes sense.
I must admit, I thought that.
The Dutch had nothing for England. Obviously, it was good to see Van Dijk captaining the side from a Liverpool point of view. I've got to sneak that one in there. And I don't know, to be honest, I'm not going to lie, I didn't watch all of it. I know, controversy there, not watching all of it. But Lingard's goal was well taken. I do agree with Conor. It pains me to say it as much with him being a Manchester United player. But then again, I'm not happy with Dele Alli at the moment, so with his diving. But yeah, it wasn't a bad performance from the English side. Some of the players, like Ashley Young, surprised me when he came out fullback. I'm not a fan of Ashley Young, but he actually didn't play that bad.
You see, I told you,
but
he's been playing well.
I don't think he should be on the plane to Russia still.
Ooh, well, you know, in all fairness.
Yeah, some of the players performed well. Jordan Henderson did okay. I was a bit unsure of him because he's captain of Liverpool, and a bit 50-50 on that still. He's probably best out of a bad bunch at Liverpool. Whether he's right to captain England is another thing, but he didn't play too bad. Sprayed a couple of balls there, and everywhere. And
you've got.
You didn't watch the game, did you?
No.
You've got. I think Connor's going to have to say
something. Yeah, the criticism.
Hang on. Were you going to finish, Joe?
No, it's gone. Go on.
Oh, go on, Conor.
Yeah, the criticism against Jordan Henderson by a lot of people on Twitter was the fact that a lot of his passes were either sideways or backwards, which kind of goes against what this kind of England formation structure is, where they play it from the back and they don't pass it back to the back.
So he's the John Obi Mikel of England then?
Basically, in that kind of situation, yeah.
Your favourite player, Joe?
The statistic was that he had like 90 passes overall in the game. 75 of them went either sideways or backwards, and 15 of them in attacking position. And out of those 15, only a third of them were on target in terms of finding the player or the opportunity to push forward. So, yeah, it's a slight concern that it's that kind of situation. But at the end of the day, what kind of other options do England have? You know, we don't exactly have like a Pirlo waiting in the wings that can easily come onto the field and be that kind of complete midfielder and be an attacking and defensive midfielder at the same time. Which is why I think, you know, with this kind of flexibility, we got 3 at the back and then you got the wing backs. You got another 5 players up front in attacking midfield positions where you can change it about completely and discuss and vary how you position those kind of players, whether you could go 2 in midfield and then 2 wingers and then the up front, or you go 2 up front, a defensive attacking midfielder and 2 attacking midfielders. A lot of variations that you can do in that kind of situation.
I wouldn't play Sterling because he's not agile enough.
Yeah,
he's not strong enough.
He's not strong enough.
Sorry.
He needs to go to the gym more.
That's Harry Kane's not agile enough.
Yeah.
Harry Kane's not mobile enough.
Hey. No, but the argument a lot of people that I don't like about Henderson, though, is that he needs to be more of an attacking kind of player and play those kind of balls forward. But if you've got people like Sterling and Lingard and Rashford who are going to pick up the ball from those kind of deep line midfield positions and then push forward, you don't really need Henderson to really play those like Pirlo kind of long balls across the midfield towards the attackers on the wings or up front, because, you know, he doesn't have to have that responsibility when you've got people like Lingard and Sterling on the pitch that can push forward and be those kind of attacking players. So whilst I agreed that Henderson wasn't exactly brilliant on the night, and, you know, kind of disagree with the comments that Southgate made after the game where, you know, he's saying like, oh, calm down.
I don't know what happened.
The mic has dropped.
Yeah, mic drop. Not exactly a standing point for that situation when you've got nothing to comment about on the game. And that, but Henderson, you know, he doesn't need to be the
told it.
the attacking playmaker that a lot of England fans are saying that he needs to be on Twitter, because you got plenty of other options that can fill that kind of role. So long as he's on target with his passing, which he wasn't, then he's fine. So that's the situation that he needs to work on. Really, he doesn't need to be an attacking
I
player.
technically didn't say he was on target with his passing. I did say
No,
he
no,
just
I
played
didn't
the
say that.
variety of balls.
He played a couple of passes.
Yeah, he played a couple of passes. Moving
Alex
forward from there.
Oxlade-Chamberlain, though, did play well. I thought he took a lot of praise on social media. And I thought
He played a
well.
couple more passes, didn't he?
Yeah, a few more passes, and he was that kind of more attacking, kind of flair kind of guy. So, and those are the kind of players that really flare up in that kind of formation, because you're so far deep with the defenders and so many of them there, 5 of them, with the wing backs as well. There's an option for attacking players to really flare and show their ability and what they can do.
Which we want.
Yeah, which we want in an England team, because we've got so many promising youngsters like Sterling, still only 24 years old, and you think how long he's been in the England team now. Yeah.
Well, is that the last World Cup as well?
Yeah, and European Championships. soon.
Didn't do much, but
No.
Nobody did much though, did they? I guess.
Yeah.
I did think. Oh, sorry.
No, go on.
I was going to say about jump to the back, the defence. I didn't think they did too bad. I thought Harry Maguire, because he come on for Joe Gomez after, was it 6 minutes?
Yeah.
Something like that. I thought he looked pretty solid at the back.
I was quite impressed by Maguire, to be honest.
I still think there's a lot of centre-back positions, though, up for grabs.
Yes.
I think the only one that's
Stones.
Yeah. He's a solid pick on the plane and starting 11. But there's still a lot of options in the centre-back positions, even for Cahill to come back into the side if he was in good enough form. But
Jack will be very delighted with that.
yeah.
I heard people saying about Chris Smalling down the years, but I never really not because he's United.
No,
not no bias.
No.
I've never
For once,
rated
Joe,
him in an England shirt.
For once, Joe, I'm agreeing with you. I don't think he would do.
And
it
I
for
don't
England.
think he fits Man United either. To be honest, I
Wow.
think United could do a lot better.
Eric Bailly makes him look rubbish. Anyway, that simple comment. But I'm putting this out there. I honestly think Ashley Young should go ahead of Danny Rose as left back. I know that's a big commit. I've got no stats or anything to back me up, but I just feel Young is such a different player when it comes to the crosses as well. He delivers good balls in. Danny Rose, for me, didn't do it for me on Friday night. Okay, it's
Well,
only
that's
one
because
match.
he basically almost had a concussion with like 10 minutes into the game.
That's his
Getting-
problem. You got to get your head
His
in the right
problem.
place.
He's lost his place at Spurs as well, hasn't he?
Exactly.
To Ben
Which-
Davies.
This,
But
this is why.
for me, Ryan Bertrand, when he's fit,
Yeah, Ryan Bertrand is a good player.
but he withdrew, didn't he, because of injury. So
Yeah. So, well, this is it. Gareth Southgate does have those options, which is good for the depth for the squad.
Yeah.
Anyway, we must move on. We must preview the Italy game, which is on Tuesday night. Of course, it's at Wembley. They're playing at home. And really, Italy, a team which is quite shocking to believe. As we speak, Conor is trying to fix Joe's microphone. And while that's happening, I'll talk to Jack.
Oh,
Jack,
don't come to me. I don't know anything.
Italy, I can't believe that they are not in the World Cup. No, so that means no Pirlo. Well, I say no Pirlo. He's retired. No Buffon. And for the
Buffon
final-
actually is in the squad. He got called up for the squad.
What, in the
No,
World
no, no.
Cup?
I mean.
I thought you were in the friendlies. No, he's in the friendly squad because he played against
I was
Argentina.
gonna say, who's he
in the
changing
week.
teams to?
I'll say this now. I don't know why he's even doing it. Just sit back and
Yeah.
relax. You got Juventus in the Champions League.
When
to
you got
do.
someone like the AC Milan goalkeeper, Donnarumma, you don't need to play Buffon anymore. What are you doing? It's like, but continue on your point. I'm sorry.
Anyway, I was just saying, no Italy at the World Cup, which is a very weird thing to see. But anyway, that game will kick off tomorrow night on Tuesday night. And anyway, it looks like we're going to need a music break here as we have a microphone to fix. We'll be right back on the... he says sorry already. We've got...
it's
though-
all right. I've done it.
Oh, he's done it. He's done it. He's
Hey.
fixed it. Oh, but
I
we
just
must have
won't
a
touch
music. Joe, you are a saviour. I've wished I had the sound effects of Hallelujah on the radio, but sadly I do not have them with a good press of a button. But anyway, we must have a music break. It is Take That with Hold Up a Light. Hello and welcome back to the Let's Talk Sports show on Calon 105 FM and YouTube with Jack Price, Conor Porter, Joe Stanley,
Stop fiddling there.
and the beautiful Jamie Davies. We do have a bad mic at the moment with Joe Stanley's, and as long as he doesn't touch it, every time he touches it, he owes Let's Talk
He can hear
Sport
you fine. You don't need to move
10p
it.
per touch.
Ooh.
It's like a swear jar, but touching a microphone instead. Could be worse. Just be careful.
So it's 20p you owe us already.
20p.
No,
Yeah.
I was adjusting. it so
20p.
that-
That's a bit low, isn't it?
Well, yeah.
Well, I'm being nice.
The microphone came off, so
Well, that's an
think
extra
it's
50p,
Hey,
is
You
it?
can't remember how many times. Yeah, I know. I'm thinking $2,000. I mean,
Whoa.
I didn't know it was dodgy. I touched it, to move
Everyone
into
knows.
position, and it fell off.
We hope it's okay now. Are you okay? Microphone 4.
Should be.
It's not talking. Anyway,
Isn't
I thought they were alive. Anyway, we must preview the Italy game because of what happened properly. Italy, yeah. What do you think, Connor?
Well, yeah, it's going to be an interesting game because Italy's kind of in the same situation that England was a couple of years ago. They're now under charge of Di Biagio, I think his name is. He was the Italy under-21s manager before coming in charge as a caretaker role for the Italy national team.
So pretty much like Southgate.
Yeah, so pretty much in the same situation, and they're in a rebuilding structure now. So similar to kind of like Netherlands, but they do have a lot of more promising players in their squad. People like Ciro Immobile, who's actually been around Europe a couple of times for Borussia Dortmund, Torino, and I think now he's at either Lazio or Napoli, one of those. And then we've got Insigne as well. He's the one that's at Napoli. Buffon been called up for these internationals for some sort of reason, I don't know.
Experience head.
Yeah, but these friendlies are going to be interesting to see how Italy perform, because if Di Biagio does well in these friendlies, then he could get the full-time role. Otherwise, it could either go to Ancelotti or Conte, depending on his place at Chelsea. Whether or not he stays on the summer is a different story completely. But yeah, Ancelotti's certainly one that the Italy national team has got their eye on moving forward. And I think approaching this game, England should be looking to win it quite comfortably, because it is one of those where it is similar to the Netherlands. They are in a rebuilding stage, restructure under new management as well. It only took Argentina to have Lanzini on the field to win against Italy in the week at the Etihad. So, and that was with Messi on the bench as well. They didn't even bother to bring him in.
Did they not play him at
I
all?
don't think so. They didn't start him.
Oh, I bet
they may have.
I bet the fans at the Etihad were quite gutted about
They
that.
may have brought him on at some point in the second half, but they certainly didn't start him. So, yeah, that's the current state of this Italy squad at the moment. They do have some of the promising players in their squad, but unfortunately for them, they're not going to the World Cup, and they'll just have to look forward to the Home Nations tournament and the European Championship qualifying, pushing on from then. So, yeah, it's still going to be a challenging game, because Italy are a known squad to do well in terms of like defensively. They've always got that kind of neat structure, but whether or not they can show it in the attacking kind of sense on tomorrow night will be an interesting watch to see. I strongly believe that England should come out of the game quite comfortably with the win. If they don't, then there's going to be an interesting case of who was to blame, because, you know, this kind of defensive structure where we build from the back is going to be under scrutiny, and most likely as well, Jack Butland will be in goal, replacing Jordan Pickford in their own battle for England #1 spot. So if Butland doesn't do well in that game, then I think it almost is a certainty that Pickford will be the #1 goalkeeper and be the first one starting against Tunisia in the first World Cup game. So, yeah, it'll be an interesting watch for sure. It probably will be a bit more entertaining than what the Netherlands game was.
Hope so.
I hope so.
Same.
But yeah, England should come out of that comfortably with a win.
Can I ask, how many more international friendlies are there after this?
I think
Do we have one just before the World
There's-
Cup?
There's two, I think. isn't
there's Costa Rica, and then I think there is...
Yeah, because there's one at
another one.
Ellen Road, isn't there?
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's another one at Ellen Road. I think it's...
Ellen Road?
Yeah.
I think it's... No, that might be the Costa Rica game.
Oh, okay.
But there is another one.
Isn't there another one at City's ground?
No. It's at Wembley. It's
Oh, is that Wembley?
It's definitely a strong opponent that they're facing off against. So yeah, there's only like 2 or 3 friendlies
Because
left.
they don't really want to say, if they lose this game, it's not really going to help their confidence going into the
No,
the
especially
tournaments, is it?
especially with the long gap now between the international
Coming back.
friendlies as well.
Yeah, there's only... Oh, no, sorry, apologies. There's actually 2.
Nigeria.
We've got Nigeria on the 2nd of June, which is a 5:15 kickoff in England, and Costa Rica.
Nigeria is a strong squad.
They're the
So-
best team in Africa at the moment,
Yeah,
aren't they?
they're a strong squad, so that's not going to be an easy
I was
game
gonna
for
say
England.
Egypt,
No.
but
But
And
that-
Costa Rica's caused
but those
problems
two-
in the
those-
2014.
Well, those 2 fixtures are realistic, aren't they? You know, we're going up against 2 World Cup teams.
Yeah,
So that's good. In my eyes, that's good prep.
yeah, it is good prep, but at the same time, there is a long period now between the Italy game tomorrow night and that Nigeria game, which I don't think is till after the season's concluded.
Yeah.
It's like 2 weeks before the World
I
Cup.
think it's the same week as the Champions League final.
Yeah.
After that,
Yeah. So there is now a long period where Gareth Southgate's going to have a lot to think about as to should he start now in those 2 games with the same squad that he's been looking at to start in the Tunisia game. So this may be tomorrow night against Italy the last chance for some of those fringe players in the squad to actually either book their spot in the starting 11 or to book their spot even on the plane going to Russia this summer. So yeah, interesting game for certain.
We'll talk about Wales because obviously they're in the China Cup as we speak. They beat the host China 6-0.
They smashed China.
They smashed China, and if anything,
You keep using that joke, Joe.
I mean, it's that good old. I mean, how many millions have you spent, China? Yeah, it's not working, is it? Obviously,
Because they
Wales,
can't play Tevez.
and they can't even play. Yeah, can't play Tevez.
He's not even there anymore.
Yeah, he went back to Boca Juniors again. Jack, a great win, but also it was a great night for Gareth Bale, being the highest goal scorer for Wales football. Obviously, quite privileged. Wasn't that hard to get there, probably, because it's Wales. But at the end of the day, he's there to make a mark, and he's doing it again.
But I also think it's quite good because it's actually a tournament, and they're also talking about, if they win, is it Uruguay they're playing? If they win, there's a chance of winning a trophy, and that's actually quite important. Whereas when you normally just play international friendlies,
it's more than England over the last 50,
well,
40
when you
years.
just play international friendlies, you don't win anything. So doing this whole cup thing, I said before that it's not a bad idea. It's also good for Ryan Giggs' first win as Wales manager. Doesn't really say a lot though, because as we've already said, it was China. But 6-0, you've got to win. So to win it 6-0 was pretty good as well. Obviously Gareth Bale getting the goals as well, and actually a lot of Welsh fans have gone out to China to watch the games and support their team. So that's also good.
But did you also know? It was on the BBC. It was on a few sources where
It's just this Chris Gunter thing.
Chris Gunter is like the favorite footballer in China. I mean, where did that come from?
Chris Gunter, I don't
man.
like him.
He's just put it out. He's just put it out.
No, he left Forest to go to Reading because he wanted to play more Premier League football. But I don't think Reading only spent 1 season in the Premier League since this move.
Oh dear. Well,
So,
in case
it's 1 more season more than Forest, but it's not a ball.
Interesting news story about Welsh football off the pitch, wasn't it? They're thinking of putting a load of money into Colliers Park here at Wrexham and building a northern base for the national team or something.
I mean,
It's
not
something
heard of
that's
that.
been needed for ages, though, isn't it?
Because they've actually drawn up designs.
Well,
It's on social
owned
media.
by the uni now, isn't it? Colliers Park. It's not even owned by Wrexham Football Club anymore. So
No, they've got their own. What haven't they?
yeah, it's
some
in the middle of a field.
I can't remember what it's called. Something acres, isn't it?
Yeah,
Something
I can't remember.
9 acres.
That was it. Yeah,
9 acres.
yeah.
Yeah. I nearly said green acres. I think
But
that's
they
a
haven't
holiday
played,
camp
they
somewhere.
haven't played the race course for a good 10 years, have they?
No.
Well, they hasn't got their
Last time
safety
I-
certificate, has it?
I
Really?
was gonna say, last time I went to go and watch Wales there, Robert Earnshaw was playing, and Ryan Giggs, I think,
Legend.
was actually still
Oh,
playing as well.
Good
So.
old Earnshaw.
Another
What a
Forest
legend.
player.
But if, but if you think about it, it'd be great. It'd be great for Welsh football. They bring the base a base up here because it's all down south at the moment.
What's like England as well, isn't it?
Yeah.
Being all down south.
That's what annoys me. Sounds controversial, but I preferred it without Wembley. With the England football, because they used to go around the country and
Yeah.
everyone got a chance to see it, and it was better atmosphere. Everyone seems to get behind the team a bit more. With England
Yeah, I
back at
agree with
Wembley, don't get me wrong, I love the cup finals being back down at Wembley, but you got the controversial side. I know it's controversial opinion, but everyone's, how do you put it? For the fans from the north, seem to be a bit isolated. They've got to have, what is it? I don't know how many hours travel. 6 hours in the car, maybe.
Just to watch a 0-0.
2 hours, just to watch some of their star
It's
players.
Lithuania.
I know, yeah. The qualifying matches. No, it's funny because before the Euros 2 years ago, they played at Sunderland's ground and they played at the Etihad.
Yeah.
So obviously,
Etihad.
yeah, it's a good name. Actually, Etihad in Arabic is United. Just saying.
Ooh.
It's on to eat in your porridge tonight. Well, I don't know if you want to eat porridge tonight, Man City fans, but anyway. But yeah, they did those 2 games at Sunderland and City's ground before the Euros, and I thought that was a good idea. And obviously, this summer it's going to be at Leeds United's ground. One of the games, I don't know where the other one's going to be, but it's a good idea.
Yeah.
Anyway, we must have a music break, and then of course we've got a bit more to talk about. Not in football. That's it for football. There's Premier League back this weekend, though. Everyone's happy now that the international football, let's call it, death.
As long as the snow doesn't, cancel everything again.
The thing is, as a kid, can I just say, as a kid, I used to get really like up for watching England and international football. I used to not mind watching the friendlies.
Yeah, but
now,
yeah, but Joe,
now I'm just in illusion with it.
Yeah,
It's
but
just
Joe,
boring.
that was like me.
The golden generation.
We grew up, when we first grew up, we thought England were the best team in the world. And then we realised when you watch them and Ronaldinho scores a free kick over Seaman's head, you just get absolutely
Too many years of
Near
hurt.
post as well,
emotional.
wasn't it?
Near post.
The bit that got me was the
Stupid goal.
penalty shootout against Portugal.
Which one?
Well, oh yeah,
There's two in there.
2006 one for me, the World Cup.
2004 was a lot heartbreaker because we should have won that game.
Well, yeah,
But
2006 we were all over him, and then Rooney decided to
luckily,
stand.
luckily, I was away from that game. Actually, the 2006 one. I didn't care that much. I don't know why. I wanted Angola to win the World Cup, but sadly they didn't make it, even out of the group stages. What a shame. Oh yes, Dwight York. He didn't even score. What a disappointment. Anyway, we better have this music break then. Anyway, this is the song for the UK at Eurovision this year. So I thought I'd, try and squeeze one in there. And it's with Suri, not Siri, with Storm. Let us know what you think, and remember, you can catch Eurojam every fortnight on a Wednesday at plug. I've turned your mics off, so I can't hear you. So it's a good plug, and make sure you don't miss it. Anyway, here it is. Siri Storm there, and obviously that is the UK song for Eurovision this year. Good luck to her, even though it's a few weeks away yet. Anyway, we're back on the Let's Talk Sports show with Jamie Davies, Jack Price, Conor Porter, and Joe Stanley. And if you actually look very closely on our YouTube channel, you can see a Liverpool badge on his shirt, which is Joe's shirt. It's black and red checkered shirt, which I must admit, I when he first came into the studio, I complimented Joe and said that is a very nice shirt. And when you don't see the full angle, he turns a bit more towards you, and you see that badge. I didn't have a grin. I was angry.
I had a grin.
You had a grin. You were loving it. You tricked me there. You did. Anyway, before we conclude the show, we've got something coming up in just a moment, which will be very exciting, especially on YouTube. Remember, Let's Talk Sport on YouTube. Subscribe. We're not above begging.
Please.
Please. Anyway, we do actually have to talk about the cricket now. Of course, we went to Australia a few months back with high hopes. Well, I didn't have any high hopes. I kind of expected this, but we got absolutely thrashed. We lost 4-0 12 months after we went to India and had a whitewash there where we lost 5-0. So that's why I wasn't very confident in what was going to happen. But it's become really sad all of a sudden because we found out this weekend that the captain, Steve Smith, actually knew what happened to his teammate Bancroft, who has been known to have tampered with the ball in the test against South Africa, which was the third test out of the 4 of the series. And we found out this weekend that the captain, Steve Smith, before it was going to happen, he knew that his teammate Bancroft was going to do it. I can't believe what I was reading. I must admit, when finding out about this is a cricketer who many adore. He is one of the favourites in Australia. In my eyes, he is a great batsman. He's probably the best batsman in the world right now. Joe Root must not be far behind him. But it's incredible to think how you look at the youth in Australia, where Australia is a big cricket nation, just like England, just like West Indies, South Africa or New Zealand. Just like, just think of any sport. All these kids grow up to watch these stars, and 1 or 2 of them might come out as an Australian cricketer, which is a big privilege for them. But to in this modern day and age, we are seeing so many people cheating in sport now, and I don't understand what are you gaining from it? We're in a world now where technology can find out about anything, where even if you murder someone, you're not going to get away with it. And why do they think that it's okay to just cheat, get what they're after, and then at some point in their life, wherever they die, finding out after their death, or they find out beforehand that they have cheated. And, this all started with Lance Armstrong, and ever since it's got worse. Russia, we have a nation like Russia now who can't even announce themselves at the Olympics. They're about to host the World Cup. It's beyond me, this is. And then we have the whole cyclists are cheating at the moment. Apparently Bradley Wiggins cheated. I don't believe in any of that. Or Chris Froome. I don't believe in any of that. That's still being an investigation. We have Mo Farah, who's being talked about cheating with his coach Salazar. That's actually focused on the people who do cheat, and that is Steve Smith with his teammate Bancroft, where they know what has happened. and I'm ashamed. It's a disgrace. And that Australian commentator on Sunday or Saturday, there was a recording of him mentioning it during the cricket commentary for Fox Sports, I think it was, in Australia. And he was all emotional about it. And, you just don't blame him. And I think it's a real shame that we have to live in a day and age now where cheating is becoming even worse now. And these are people that we look up to and have thousands of followers. And now Steve Smith is getting what he deserves, and he is basically a step down as the captain of one of the Indian Premier League sides, which is the Royals, one of the biggest teams in the league as well, all because of the ball tampering. And he's been fined, and he's going to miss the last test in South Africa. So it's a real shame we've had to see that. But anyway, that's my rant over, and hopefully we won't see much more of that in the future. Anyway, this is the last part of the show. This is it. This is my favourite part. On my way here, last week we found out Panini released their World Cup sticker album for Russia 2018. And Connor said he needs to get the album out. I've got a packet of stickers. So's Joe, Connor, and Jack. Jack has already started. It's like the FA Cup draw.
It's like Christmas.
You just don't know what's going to happen. Jack Price, who have you got?
Well, I'll pass them over to you so you can show to the camera.
We have Johan Goodmanson. Now, that's a good one for Iceland. Just to let you know, this is my album, so I'm actually quite happy with that one. Mm-hmm. We have Steven Sober for Switzerland, right there.
Oh, you're going to love this one.
Oh, hello. I bet this isn't... Oh, it's Lindelof. It's great to have you on board. That's what Mourinho would say. We have...
Yannick Carrasco.
Oh, yes, the Belgium star. There he is right there. Actually, on the stickers now, they say what year they first played for them. That's quite
then you've got a Legends photo.
A Legends photo of Germany winning the World Cup from 4 years ago.
What a lovely pack.
And now we go on to the next pot of the draw, and it's Conor Porter.
You can have a good go at pronouncing this guy's name.
Oh, great. Denis Zakaria? I have no idea. He is from Switzerland. There it is right there. Next up.
Oh, we got another good pronunciation.
You're going to love that.
You're going to love this one. Maybe this whole pack's of Jamie tests your pronunciation.
Abdullah Azuri.
That's not bad.
From Saudi Arabia.
This one's a bit of a tough one.
Oh, you're going to struggle with this.
You're going to struggle with this one.
This is like a test, isn't it?
Oh, yeah.
Double barrel last name. Double barrel last name.
Alex. It's Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain.
Oh, that's close.
No one likes him. Anyway, move on.
I like Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain.
You didn't until he came to Liverpool.
I liked him before he came to Liverpool.
We could end up talking about this guy, but he could not have a longer name. He was a Tunisian, so you cannot have a longer name.
Panini, what are you doing to me? It is Mohamed Amin Ben Omar. Well, I should know that really, but anyway, there he is right there.
And I mean, this last one, you haven't done many commentaries for BHBN Sport this season, but he is a Birmingham player.
Oh, hello. It is Czech Endoy. Oh, no idea. Birmingham City, 2014. Must be a rubbish player because the whole team's rubbish. Anyway, moving on. Joe Stanley.
Got a fancy one here.
Oh, we got a fancy one here.
Fancy.
Oh, here it is.
Shiny.
Let's have a look.
Wow.
It's a part of the Moscow buildings. Yeah. Next one. Joe, you're disappointing me.
A goalkeeper.
Oh, a goal.
Portuguese.
Goal.
Patricio.
It is.
Yep, it is. Right, there he is. Right there. Confirmation.
We got another Tunisian star.
Tunisian
From
star.
Zamalek.
We must hurry up. We're
I was
running
going
out
to
of
say,
time.
he's dragging it. He's dragging his pack out.
Hamdi Niguez. There he is right there. I've still got to open my packet.
Serbian player.
A Serbian player. Oh, it's Tosic. Yeah. Oh, that's a good one.
And
I
then
like
we've
that one.
got a Japanese international.
A Japanese international. I won't pronounce this one. Yep. There he is right there. Oh, my thumb's probably over it. There we go. Anyway, we must end the show. Thank you very much to Jack Price, Conor Porter, and Joe Stanley for their contributions this week. Obviously, we'll be back next week on Easter Monday. And remember to subscribe to Let's Talk Sport. And thank you very much for listening. You've been listening to Calon 105 FM.